Assalamu alaikum guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing something slightly different in the sense that I'm going to be not so much reacting but commenting on a video compilation, or at least one that I've made, of Muslim prayer scenes in movies. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at how they pray and commenting on the things that they got right and they got wrong. Again, this isn't in a reaction in the sense that it's something I haven't seen before. All the clips I'm reacting to, if you will, I've seen before. I'm actually just doing a video of my commentary on it. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to get straight into it. The first one is from the television show Homeland. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump into this one now. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so he's dropping the prayer rug down.
Allahu Akbar. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki. Allahu Akbar. Subhanallah yabda Allah, Subhanallah abdiyallah Allah, Subhanallah radiyallah Allah. Allahu Akbar.
Right, let's pause it there. So yeah, one of the things they got right and is obviously that you saw in this clip is the fact that, you know, he's laying his prayer rug down. Obviously, some of you may notice he's got his trousers above his ankles, which is the son of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. So obviously that was correct. The fact that he said, you know, Allahu Akbar before he placed his hands across, that was correct as well, the takbir. Some of the things that weren't correct, and this is something you didn't see in this clip, but again, right before this happens, you actually see him wake up and go in there, and, you know, he cleans the place, you know, first before he lays his prayer rug down, which is correct. He makes wudu, that seems to be correct. I didn't notice anything, but the first thing I wanted to point out was the time that he was actually praying, because in his house when he wakes up it's still quite dark, which enables you to believe that he's praying Fajr prayer. But when you see him in the garage, it seems like the sun's already actually risen, unless like his entire family slept all the way through till basically sunset. But yes, that was the first thing. The second part was obviously his tajweed was really bad. You know, I don't know at what point during his captivity he converted to Islam, but, you know, his recitation was terrible. Another thing I wanted to point out is, obviously, as any Muslim will know, when he was reciting Surah Al-Fatiha, which is what any Muslim says when they're in prayer, he stopped at Maliki, so he said, you know, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki, and that's when he stopped. And usually we continue, well, I say usually, we always do, we continue it with Maliki Yawmiddin. And also, it's the fact that he said the Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim part. I have heard reciters, when reciting Surah Al-Fatiha in a video, they will recite the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, you know, in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. But I've never actually heard them do it in prayer. I mean, that could just be me. So yeah, he basically stopped halfway through Surah Al-Fatiha, and then went straight into sujood. And there's a few things, obviously, like I say, that are wrong with that. For starters, if you stop in the middle of Surah Al-Fatiha, your prayer won't be accepted because you haven't completed it. After that, you're supposed to recite another surah or a chapter from the Quran, and obviously he didn't do that. He went straight into sujood, which again is, even if he had done everything correctly up until that point, you don't go straight into sujood. You go into ruku first, which is the bowing, and then you say Sami Allahu liman hamida, and then raise your arms up again, and then you go into the sujood where you say Subhana Rabbil A'la, and you say that 3 times. I believe that is what he said, although I couldn't quite get the pronunciation. And also, he didn't say what's known as the taslim, which is where you say, you know, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, which is giving these salams to the angels on either shoulder. And then he seemed like he went after sujood, just when they started making dua. And so yeah, that was again quite weird. off the top of my head, I think that was everything I was able to notice. If I've gotten anything wrong, if I missed something, please let me know in the comment section. So next, I'm going to get into something from the television show Vikings. I actually haven't seen the show Vikings. I've only just seen this clip. Where it's Floki finds Muslim mosque. So yeah, let's get into this one.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين.
What are you doing?
Okay, so for that one, the first thing I know is obviously you had to pick the lock to get inside the mosque. I mean, maybe that's how they did it in those days. I don't know when exactly this was set, but I've never seen a mosque actually locked unless all the time for prayers have been done for the day. I've certainly never seen it locked during a time of prayer. I mean, that's a fire hazard if at the very least. The second thing I thought was weird as well, and maybe it could have just been me, but it seemed like they kind of stopped halfway through sort of Fatiha at one point and went into straight into sort of the class, but he seemed like they missed out the first verse, Qul Huwallahu Ahad. It seemed like I say, they went straight into the second verse on that one. And also when he was saying the Allahu Akbars when people were in sujood, he stood up again and then recited Surah Al-Fatiha. Which makes me wonder what rakat they're wrong, because it seems like they might have been on their third one and he was still reciting out loud. And generally in Maghrib and Isha, which considering the fact that it looked like it was night, that's probably what they would have been doing. The third rakat in Maghrib, the last rakat, is silent, as well as the third and fourth ones in Isha are silent as well. But then again, that could have just been me. But again, like I say, he stood up and was reciting Surah Al-Fatiha, what potentially was for the third time, where everyone else was still in sujood, and then they stood up afterwards. That generally doesn't happen when Muslims are praying and the Imam stands up when he says the Allahu Akbar in sujood and stands up. The congregation generally stands up with him. People may say Allahu Akbar as well as they stand up, but it generally won't be loud enough that the entire congregation says it in unison as they did when they say the Ameen. It's in the sense they don't say it out. They all don't say it out loud at the same time as well. Also, one of the things that obviously they did get right is the fact they finished Surah Al-Fatiha on this one. They didn't stop in Maliki, as I said in the last video. They said, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'in, Ihdina Sirata al-Mustaqim, Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim, ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. And also was that women, it seemed like if there were women in there were women praying behind the men. And that's generally how it's done. It's not done as a reason for sexism. The reason why it's done is because obviously when you go into sujood, even if you're wearing something that's incredibly loose, it will go tight across the rear when you go into prostrations. The reason why women have to pray behind the men is because it's the belief that men's minds are less pure than women's. So the fact that if a woman was praying in front of a man and then we'd go into sujood, the man would be too busy staring at the behind of the woman in front of him and not focusing on God. Whereas it seemed that women would not have that distraction. So essentially, by doing that, they're actually saying that women are actually better than men. And in a lot of cases like that, I would tend to agree. The one thing I noticed, I mean, is unless they were that involved in the prayer, is that nobody seemed to stop him when he walked in front of people. Generally, if you walk in front of a Muslim who's praying, even when they're like that, they will generally stick out their hand to stop you from going in front of them, because that's considered very disrespectful. Occasionally stepping between people can happen, but again, you wouldn't just walk down like in the middle of the rows, and you certainly wouldn't walk in front of the imam unless, again, something serious has happened and you need to get his attention. But yeah, I think off the top of my head, that's the only thing I really kind of noticed with that one. Again, as well as the fact that nobody really seemed to stop the other Vikings when they said, you know, what are you doing? They said it quite loud. Generally, if you're speaking that loudly in the mosque, someone may kind of very least give you a look. But yeah, those are some of the only things that I managed to actually pick up on that one. Again, me doing this, I'm not saying I'm an expert on prayer. I mean, there's probably some obvious things I probably well have missed here. Just through maybe I wasn't paying attention or just generally just didn't know. But yeah, if there is anything I've missed, please let me know in the comment section below. So yeah, I believe this is the last one here, which is for the movie The Kingdom of Heaven, The Prayer of the Muslims. Yeah, so let's get into this one now.
When we took the Holy Land, we took the Saracen trading ports. So Italian ships carry silks and spices, pilgrims, if they have money. And Italy becomes rich, as the Savior intended.
Who are those men?
Muslims. Saracens.
And they are allowed their prayers.
If they pay the tax, Subhana Rabbi al-Hadin. Praise be to God. It is proper to praise
him. Yeah, so in that one, the only thing that really looked weird is there was a lot of Allahu Akbars going on. Even generally, if they were calling the Adhan, they were calling quite bad. There wouldn't be that many Allahu Akbars. There's generally only around about 4, depending on kind of like that you actually hear them saying very, very loudly. Occasionally, like they might say, you know, Allahu Akbar, and then do the prolonged, like the one that almost seems like they're singing it. And even like, and if they were doing it in congregation, there certainly wouldn't be that many Allahu Akbars, like not 4 or 5 in a row. And even if they were doing the Sunnah prayer, they're kind of all over the place. You know, they're not really trying to pray together shoulder to shoulder as you should, or as you saw in the last one inside the mosque. So yeah, that one was just quite lazy, it seemed, to be fair. But yeah, that's just my opinion on it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you thought my video was crap, please let me know. If you thought it was great, please let me know again. But that's all for today, guys, and until then, peace.